Hi, good morning. This is video log entry 181, and it's about 11 a.m. CST. Um, I had an interview yesterday, so that went pretty well for the most part. It was for a cafe close to where I live. It's about like a 10 to 15 minute walk, and like a 5 minute bike ride over there. So that would be nice, but it's going to be for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Um, I could be working half shifts or full shifts depending on what he needs me for the weekends. And it's as a line cook, not a barista. I think I mentioned that last time. I meant to say a line cook position. They were originally looking for a barista position, but they found somebody else for that, I guess. And doesn't look too bad. It's a pretty busy cafe, especially during the summer. But I don't mind high pressure environments. And I guess I was talking about executive function, and that's definitely something that could help out with executive function, especially if you're messing with just busy days, right? Like holding all that information in your working memory and standard executive functioning stuff. But yeah, I've dealt with stuff like that in high pressure environments. I never worked in too many fast food places, but again, I've worked at a resort, and we basically, obviously on busy days, if you ever worked in places like that, you had to be as fast as possible. You need to be as efficient as possible too. So you had to look like at least a few receipts ahead and whatnot. If you have multiple orders, then yeah, like for me, that wouldn't be an issue. I think the biggest thing is actually remembering all of their menu items. Their menu is pretty extensive, and they've been adding it ever since 1991. It was originally a cafe with a small boutique in the back, and they extended the menu items probably like after every other year or so, depending on what they're inspired by. And it's a family-owned cafe, and I talked to the owners of the cafe, and they were nice. They were nice people. I think they were inspired to make a cafe not because of their parents, but they traveled a lot, and I guess it's like a common thing, right? When you're traveling a lot and you see all these nice places, like, oh, I think that goes through most people's minds, right? They have the idea of starting a cafe or whatever kind of business, small business. Um, so like that's nice, and I really respect people like that, because I obviously support small businesses, and it helps out with the community in smaller neighborhoods and whatnot. So I respect those kinds of people. Um, so yeah, I think I'll be working there throughout the summer, most likely, as long as he's interested in hiring me. And I told him that I've had a lot of working experience, and again, I've told him I worked in high pressure environments too. So I don't have issues with that, as long as I normalize my nervous system, because I'm still kind of anxious, just because I've been closing myself out and isolating myself from the rest of the world. But once I restabilize my nervous system, I won't have any issues working in a place like that. And I don't think it would be that draining, because I'm not really talking to anybody. I'm just in the back making dishes, and I'm not sure. It's been a long time, but most of the time, at least when I used to work at a resort, I was never really drained from it. The only time I was ever really drained is having to talk to people all the time and constantly running the register. And it's like that was the draining thing for me, because I guess you could say I'm introverted, and yeah, I don't find satisfaction out of talking to people all the time, obviously. Yeah, so aside from that, I think I talked about my other job seasonally as, park attendant slash facility maintenance for the parks, of course. And yeah, so I already talked about that. That's April 3rd. So yeah, I'm fairly excited for this summer, and I had to get another monitor because the other one that I was using wasn't working. So yeah, I just recently got a new one, and I'm returning the one that wasn't working. And yeah, so I have it packed up, and I think the shipment um, UPS is coming in the next couple of hours or so. At least I think the absolute lease is 8 for them. So I just have to. I think I get a notification when they come by, or you would think that would be the case. But I'm gonna keep my eye out. I'm gonna be here anyway. So yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know. My brain's been kind of, again, it's been mushy and whatnot. So I've been trying to keep it engaged, but again, it's kind of hard at times, because I don't have a lot of stuff going on in my life. So I think, like, I don't know, I feel like I get slightly more retarded during the winter. I think that's common for most people because of, I guess you call it seasonal affective disorder. And I slur all my words together, but usually I'm not this incapacitated during the spring, or, during the warm seasons and whatnot. My brain, I wouldn't even call it a retardation. It's just like the energy levels, obviously, and like going into a flow state is less common during the winter because of lack of socialization, and you're kind of isolated for most of the winter. And unless if you have more. Of course, it depends on the person. Like I usually occupy my winters through projects, introverted projects like programming and whatnot. That keeps my brain somewhat active. Of course, you can play video games and talking to your family every once in a while and at least socializing a little bit. Having a few friends here and there to talk over in the phone. I guess my mom likes FaceTiming me, so. I'm not necessarily that interested in it, but at least it keeps me out of my head for the most part. So, yeah. And of course, it's standard stuff like exercising and yeah. Anyways, I think that's like I don't like having to repeat myself. I tend to do that a lot. I don't know why I do that. I don't know how people have. I know people who are they kind of like. I know it's a communication thing, and they want other people to know that they know what they're talking about. But like for me, I don't feel like I have the need to explain every single small detail, so people sometimes question like how much I know, but I do know it. I just don't feel like having to exert the energy to properly explain all of the details to everybody. And it's just like I would expect people to know that I know things because I'm not stupid or I don't look stupid at least. Maybe I look stupid. I don't know. Maybe it's my face. I don't know. But yeah, so like common sense things. I don't know how people do that. And I think that's why I would never have a podcast, because podcasts tend to be that way, and you're communicating with somebody else. And of course, when you're communicating with somebody else, they're not in your head. So you have to show that you do know this stuff, even if you do have some form of specialization in that realm or subject or whatever, like a certificate or a degree of some sorts. But still, it's like, I don't know. I just don't like, I'm not extremely communicative. But it's nice to see other people like Destiny and a bunch of other smart people do that. It's just not me. And you could say it's partially, maybe it's a passion thing. And even then, like, even though I was like passionate about like physics and mathematics, I wasn't always like extremely talkative about it. I think it's just an introverted thing, honestly. So, yeah, I don't know. They're just things I feel bad for not explaining to people because I don't know. I kind of feel bad. It's like, well, maybe I should expound on that more. But then at the same time, like, nah, I don't need to do that. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about half the time anyways. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like saying that because my head tends to go into random loops of criticism. And when it's like maybe I should, I don't know. It's just like random stuff like that. I tend to be extremely critical towards myself. I've been working on that a lot more and not just like kind of letting go of things and moving forward, as opposed to, especially I've always had this issue with just being not down in the dumps, but just kind of like, again, it's like kind of ruminating on like past mistakes instead of like, I do learn from them. At the same time, I still kind of like beat myself up for making small mistakes here and there. And that obviously does not enhance productivity because you're too busy thinking about the past as opposed to looking forward, right? So, I try my best not to think about the past as much as I used to. Yeah, so it's just like, whatever, we all do stupid things. We're human, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm, again, like, just standard things. I'm trying to be more mindful about my thoughts. I've gotten much better. I think last year, I think most people would probably think that I haven't gotten better. It's just hard to see at times because, again, 90% of my thoughts are in my head. I don't speak every single thought that goes through my head, obviously. And, yeah, so it's hard to see from the outside, but I've gotten much better. I can just, well, of course I would know. I wouldn't be able to explain it to somebody else, but I would know. Yeah, I don't know. And, yeah, I've been productive. Again, like I said, I had to talk to the Dell people about my stupid monitor because it was glitching out. It was locked out of the menu, and I couldn't select the language, and but this one works just fine. And I thought at first, originally, it was due to the fact that it wasn't connecting properly, which I think it was because, I thought it was a button issue at first, I believe. Yeah, I thought it was a button issue. And then the lady asked about like firmware and stuff. Is like she must have dealt with this before, so she probably knows more about the technology than I do. So the button was actually, it wasn't like physically detached or anything like that. So I thought there could have been some kind of like discontinuity issue with the button, but that wasn't the case. So I guess with like the first time you turn on the Dell monitor, it just locks you out like that, regardless of there being a connection or not. So this one just automatically connected properly without even asking for the preliminary settings. So that was like, okay, whatever, it works, whatever, it works. So, yeah, yeah. It was my first time having a Dell monitor, so I don't know how to properly diagnose the issues. Um, and anyways, like, what kind of monitor would lock you out before even having a connection, or at least using it? I don't think that I thought that was dumb, but I wasn't sure, so I was like, yeah. So yeah, yeah. I mean the again, there were just like a lot of, I did a lot of research online just to see what happened, and people did say that there were times in which there was like some kind of child lock or lock to it, and you would have to hold the button to unlock the child lock, and I tried doing that too, and or some kind of locking mechanism, and that didn't work either. And yeah, I don't know, there were just like a lot of random things that I was just confused. I was like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know if it's like the firmware or if there was a discontinuity of some sorts in the actual monitor, so it wouldn't connect properly. um yeah, so yeah, I may play around a little bit. I'm getting, again, I think it's my I don't know if I have OCD, but I do get fixated on again, like, OCD is like a spectrum like anything else, right? And I think I have like, if I do have an OCD, it would be a very minor version of it. Just because of the fact that I do get fixated on my thoughts quite a bit, and I overthink things, and I keep thinking about things until I feel like I have a holistic perspective of a given thing, and I get so fixated to the point where I cover every single base and edge case and every, like, I just get very fixated on those kinds of things. I don't know why. I could just forget about it as opposed to having to know everything. But I guess I kind of like doing that. Um, or it's more of just a fixation. I wouldn't say it's me enjoying it. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, yeah. Uh, so what else do I have? I don't know. It's nice. This monitor is really nice. Um, I mainly wanted to use this for streaming, so now I feel like I feel like I have to stream now because I have this monitor. Not really. I mean, like, there are other reasons, like, if you're playing a video game and you're using like a wiki to help you out with assisting with certain tasks in the game, or I mean, there are a lot of, I mean, if you like multitasking too, and you like watching game, or like, like a Twitch stream or movies, or just streaming on Netflix or anything like that, I guess that's also fun. I don't know. Like, I never had a good reason for it. I mean, I get on YouTube sometimes, so I guess that's kind of cool. So, I usually have, like, I don't have to like watch what's going on YouTube, so I have it running in the background and the sound, as opposed for me to watching it while playing a game. So I mean, like, that's usually what I do. But I guess it's kind of nice. Maybe I'll find a reason for it aside from like looking at the chat when I'm streaming. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So aside from that, not much going on. Like, I don't even. I'm trying to think if I have any adulting tasks that I've been procrastinating on. I've been on top of my game, but only because I don't have a fucking job. And I haven't been like doing any hobbies or anything like that. So I've been on my phone, and yeah, I really need to get my brain out of this very mush. I keep calling it mush. I don't know what else to call it. A mushy state. It's very foggy and hard to focus and actually speak properly. And every time I try to talk, I see my brain starts drifting. It's like, goddamn, just come back here. Please stop drifting while I'm talking. I need you to be here so you can actually express your thoughts, as opposed to running away somewhere else. And that even happens when I'm walking, where like I'm walking, and like my brain just gets very dissociative of my environment, and that's also annoying. Um, to the point where it almost seems like it just completely blocks off all stimuli from my external environment. I think that only happens in loud places. I think that's more of a response to loud stimuli and it getting overwhelmed, though, especially when there's construction and there's a lot of cars and people and whatnot. And then you have like, and this is Chicago, so it's a metropolitan city, meaning you have an international airport as well, which is like 10 to 50 miles away from my place. So there are airplanes constantly flying over, and that on top of like the cars and the people and potentially construction and especially commercialized areas, my brain just is like, it gets anxious pretty quickly. And then it starts dissociating and cutting off all stimuli from its environment. Usually. I mean, there are times in which where it's pretty quiet and I still kind of ruminate on things, and then it blinks out at times and I'm like, well, you good, bro? I think it's just the fact that I haven't been using my brain, honestly. That though during those states is what I'm saying. Because I again, like I haven't been doing any mentally intensive tasks at all. Like not a single mentally intensive task. No reading. I mean, I do read, but like it's on my phone. It's not like actual like reading linearly through a book and actually having to remember things and like all that stuff. So I just need to find more things to keep my brain engaged. Because it's just a natural thing for the brain to go into idle mode if you're not using it, obviously, or you have nothing to think about. Obviously, it's gonna just blink out. So you have to stimulate yourself. Yeah. So yeah, I I don't know. I'm just talking right now. I have nothing better to do, so I'm gonna chat. Oh man. Yeah, I actually this is so weird. I'm so accustomed to being busy that I don't know. Like I'm not freaking out, but it just feels weird not being busy. And I mean, like I haven't. Okay, it depends on like what kind of busy. Like they're busy, like being externally busy and then being internally busy. For me, it hasn't been either of the two, so it's weird. So my brain is, again, like I said, it's been in idle mode, and I've been like rotting my brain through, yeah, like YouTube and social media and whatnot, and just random shit just to keep my brain somewhat occupied. I don't know. Yeah, so just weird. I want to get some gummies when it gets warm, though. I want some THC gummies. I think I may get some THC gummies and just ride down the lakefront. That would be fun. I don't know what the next warm day. I think in the next couple of days is going to be pretty warm, so I may actually go to a convenience store and get some gummies and just ride my bike. That sounds kind of fun. I may do that. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know. Fun stuff, I guess. I say that a lot. Fun stuff. When I say fun stuff, it doesn't mean that I'm really doing anything fun. I think that's me just being sarcastic. If anybody caught that, I'm sure mostly everybody caught that, unless if they're, I don't mean to say it, autistic. I said it. All right, bye.